So, you're doing all the right things with your diabetes exercise plan, but your blood sugar still feels like it's on a wild roller coaster, right? You carve out time for workouts, you stick to the guidelines, but those numbers, they just don't seem to dance to the tune of all the effort you're putting in. It's frustrating. What if I told you there's a super effective, yet often overlooked exercise technique that could be the very missing piece in your blood sugar control puzzle? It's a method so brilliantly simple, yet so powerful, it might just change your whole game when it comes to diabetic fitness. Stick with me because we're about to uncover it. Let me tell you about David. A few years back, David was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And like a lot of folks, he took it seriously. He read all the pamphlets, chatted with his doctor, and was really set on managing his condition with diet and exercise. David was diligent, no doubt. He'd make sure to get in 30 to 45 minutes of a brisk walk or a light jog at least 5 times a week. He even mixed in some basic strength training he found online. He was doing what he was told was enough. But here's the thing. Despite all that consistent effort, David was getting really frustrated. His morning blood sugar readings, often higher than he wanted, like an unwelcome guest overstaying its welcome. He'd get those annoying spikes after meals, even when he was being super careful with his carbs. His energy would just tank unexpectedly in the afternoons, leaving him feeling drained and pretty defeated, as if his internal battery was faulty. And his HbA1c, while a bit better, had hit this stubborn plateau. It just wouldn't budge, no matter how much he stuck to his routine. He felt like he was fighting a losing battle. And I bet many of you watching know that feeling all too well. This plateau really became David's enemy. He'd try even harder, maybe walk a little longer or push for slightly heavier weights. But that big breakthrough he was hoping for, that feeling of really getting his blood sugar under stable control, just wasn't happening. It was this deep frustration, this gut feeling that there had to be something more, something he was missing, that got David digging deeper. He knew exercise was key, but he started to think that how and when he exercised might be just as important, maybe even more so, than just the total minutes he logged. And then David found it. It wasn't buried in some super technical, obscure research paper. Nope. It was in a bunch of studies and discussions about how our muscles work and how our bodies use glucose. These highlighted a really impactful, yet incredibly simple idea. An idea often pushed aside by the focus on longer, more traditional workouts. The secret? Let's call them strategic muscle activation bursts, or as more people are starting to call them, exercise snacks. This wasn't about adding another hour to his already packed gym schedule. It was about short, sharp, strategically timed bits of simple activity, especially movements that get your muscles working, done consistently throughout the day, and importantly after meals. These exercise snacks are designed to turn your muscles into super efficient glucose sponges, soaking up sugar exactly when your body needs it most. David realized this was something he totally missed. Like many of us, he focused on the big workout, not these small, consistent activations that could actually work together with his bigger efforts. So, what exactly are these strategic muscle activation bursts or exercise snacks? Think of them as tiny workouts, usually lasting just 2 to 10 minutes. We're not necessarily talking about breaking a heavy sweat or pushing yourself to your absolute limit here. Instead, the main idea is to get your major muscle groups working. Think legs, glutes, and core, using simple body weight exercises, or maybe some light resistance. Easy examples are a set of bodyweight squats, some lunges, calf raises, a few minutes of quick stair climbing, or using a resistance band for a few quick rows or presses. Now, here's the really important bit: the why and the when. The real power of these bursts comes from their timing, especially when you do them after meals. This is what we call postprandial exercise. When you eat, especially carbs, your blood sugar levels naturally go up. For people with diabetes or insulin resistance, this rise can be bigger and last longer. But if you do a short burst of muscle activating exercise within, say, 30 to 90 minutes after a meal, you get some pretty cool benefits. First, you immediately get your muscles to start soaking up glucose. Activated muscles need fuel, and they can pull glucose straight from your bloodstream. This helps to soften those blood sugar spikes after you eat. It's like opening extra express lanes for glucose to leave your blood and get into your muscle cells. Second, doing these exercise snacks regularly throughout the day helps improve your overall insulin sensitivity. Over time, this consistent signaling can lead to a lasting improvement in how your body handles glucose. Studies have shown that breaking up long periods of sitting with short bursts of light or moderate intensity walking or simple body weight exercises can lower post-meal glucose and insulin levels. Third, the combined effect of these mini activations can be huge. A single 5-minute burst might seem small, but doing these multiple times a day really adds up. This technique isn't really about replacing your longer structured workouts. Those are still super important for your heart health and overall fitness. Research even suggests that short 2-minute bursts of walking every 30 minutes can help stabilize blood sugar. With this new knowledge, David decided to give exercise snacks a try. He didn't ditch his regular walks, but he cleverly added these short activation bursts into his daily routine, like sprinkling a secret ingredient into his existing health recipe. After breakfast, instead of just sitting down to read the news, he'd spend 5 to 10 minutes doing a little circuit of bodyweight squats, some lunges, and calf raises right in his living room. It was quick, no special equipment needed, and he could feel his leg muscles getting to work. During his workday, which was mostly sitting at a desk, he set a reminder to get up every hour. Sometimes it was a quick walk around the office for a couple of minutes. Other times, he'd do a short set of wall sits or use a resistance band he kept at his desk for some fast upper body work. After lunch, he made it a rule to take a 10-minute brisk walk, maybe finding a flight of stairs to climb a few times. And after dinner, instead of heading straight for the couch, he and his wife started a new habit: a 10-15-minute relaxed walk around the neighborhood. Or, if the weather was bad, they'd do some light stretching and movement indoors. The key for David wasn't about making these short bursts super intense, but about consistency and timing. He found that these snacks were easy to fit in, didn't feel like a chore, and actually left him feeling more energized, not worn out. It didn't take long for David to start seeing changes. Within just a couple of weeks, his daily blood sugar readings began to show a real improvement. Those sharp, frustrating spikes after meals started to smooth out, like smoothing wrinkles from a cloth. He noticed his energy levels were more stable throughout the day. No more of those dreaded afternoon slumps. After a few months of consistently adding these strategic muscle activation bursts to his regular exercise routine, David had his follow-up appointment with his doctor. His HbA1c levels had dropped more significantly than they had in the entire previous year. He felt more in control of his diabetes than ever before. His doctor was impressed and told him to keep up the great work with his new approach. Now, David's medication needs didn't change dramatically overnight, and it's so important to say that any medication changes should only be made by talking to your doctor. But the better blood sugar control and the feeling of empowerment were truly life-changing for him. He realized that managing diabetes wasn't just about 1 or 2 big efforts a week. It was about the continuous, smart choices and actions he took all day, every day. He had found a missing piece of the puzzle, not by working harder, but by working smarter. He discovered that these brief bits of activity, especially after meals, were an incredibly powerful tool in his diabetes management kit. You might be thinking, if this exercise, snacking, or strategic muscle activation burst thing is so effective, why isn't everyone talking about it? Why isn't it standard advice for every person with diabetes? Well, there are probably a few reasons. First off, the fitness and health world often shines a big spotlight on longer, more intense workouts. You know, the 30-minute jogs, hour-long gym sessions, or those high-intensity interval training classes. They tend to get all the attention, like blockbuster movies often overshadowing quiet, brilliant independent films. And those are fantastic, no doubt, but the simple idea of a 5-minute post-meal squat session can sometimes get lost in all that noise, or maybe even seem too good to be true. Secondly, the advice to be more active is pretty general. The specific tactical advantage of when and how to use these short bursts for the best impact on glucose management might not always be clearly explained. Often, the focus is just on hitting a total weekly exercise target, like 150 minutes of moderate intensity activity, rather than how you spread that activity throughout your day. It's like telling someone to build a house without explaining that the foundation needs to be poured before the walls go up. Thirdly, our own psychology plays a part. Sometimes we think more effort equals more results, and a short, simple activity might not feel as impactful as a tough workout, even if the benefits for blood sugar control are huge. Let's be honest, there's less glamour in a few minutes of calf raises than in crushing a spin class, just like a simple vital key doesn't look as impressive as a complex machine, but it's essential for unlocking the door. But the science is getting clearer and clearer. These short, strategically timed bursts of activity, especially those that get your big muscle groups working after meals, are a really potent tool for improving insulin sensitivity and managing blood glucose levels. They don't replace longer workouts. They make them even better by tackling a specific issue in diabetes management: those pesky post-meal glucose surges. So, how can you start using this diabetic exercise secret in your own life? It's actually simpler than you might think. Start small and be strategic. You don't need to turn your whole life upside down overnight. Begin by picking one meal, after which you usually see a blood sugar spike or feel a bit sluggish. Try to add a 5 to 10 minute exercise snack within 30-90 minutes after that meal. Choose your snacks. Keep it easy and something you can do anywhere. Bodyweight exercises: squats, lunges, calf raises, wall sits, push-ups, On your knees or against a wall is perfectly fine. Planks. Light resistance. Grab some resistance bands for rows, bicep curls, or shoulder presses. Even light hand weights can work. Movement. A brisk walk, climbing a flight or two of stairs, marching in place with high knees, or even jumping jacks if that feels right for your fitness level. Focus on large muscle groups, getting the muscles in your legs, quads, hamstrings, glutes, and your core working will generally give you the biggest bang for your buck with glucose uptake. Break up sedentary time. If you have a desk job or find yourself sitting for long stretches, set a reminder to stand up and move for a few minutes every hour, or even every 30 minutes if you can. This could be a short walk, some simple stretches, or a few easy exercises. Listen to your body. Remember, these aren't meant to be exhausting workouts. The goal is gentle to moderate activation. If something hurts, stop or change it. We're aiming for consistency, not injury. Integrate, don't isolate. Think of these exercise snacks as a way to boost your current exercise routine, not replace it. Keep up with your regular aerobic and resistance training as your doctor recommends. These snacks are like your in-between warriors, fighting those blood sugar battles throughout the day. Make it a habit. Try linking these new mini routines to habits you already have. For example, after I finish my lunch, I will walk for 10 minutes. Or, when a commercial comes on TV in the evening, I'll do a set of squats. The great thing about this approach is how flexible and doable it is. You don't need a gym, fancy gear, or a ton of time. All you need is the intention and a bit of consistency. Now, while this technique is powerful and generally safe for most people, it's absolutely key to be careful when changing your exercise routine, especially when you're managing diabetes. It's like being a careful driver. You know your car, but you still check your mirrors before changing lanes. Super importantly, please talk to your doctor or a diabetes care specialist before you make any big changes to your physical activity patterns. They can help you figure out if this approach is a good fit for you, considering your individual health, medications, and any potential complications. Monitor your blood sugar. Pay close attention to your blood sugar levels before and after trying these exercise snacks, especially when you're just starting out. This will help you see how your body responds and let you make any needed adjustments with your healthcare team. Exercise can lower blood sugar, and if you're on insulin or certain diabetes medications, you'll want to be aware of the risk of hypoglycemia, low blood sugar, and know how to handle it. Always have a source of fast-acting carbohydrate handy, just in case. This is not a replacement for medication. It's really vital to understand that this exercise technique is a strategy to help you out. It is not a replacement for any diabetes medications. Your doctor has prescribed, unless they specifically tell you otherwise, and manage that change. Stay hydrated and wear proper footwear. Even for short bursts of activity, drinking enough water and wearing good shoes are important, especially for people with diabetes, who might have a higher risk of foot problems. Managing diabetes can often feel like a really complex and demanding job. But as David's story shows us, sometimes the biggest changes come from simple, smart adjustments. This often overlooked secret of strategic muscle activation bursts or exercise snacks isn't about adding huge new burdens to your day. It's about cleverly using your body's own natural processes to to your advantage, like a sailor using the wind instead of fighting against it. It's about giving you another effective tool to get better blood sugar control, improve your insulin sensitivity, and ultimately boost your quality of life. So I really encourage you to explore this. Chat with your doctor, and if it seems like a good fit for you, start small and see how these little bursts of activity can make a big difference. If you found this information helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and think about subscribing for more insights and tips on managing your health. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Have you ever tried exercise snacking? Or do you have other secret techniques that work for you? Share your experiences because we can all learn from each other. Thanks for watching, and here's to unlocking better blood sugar control, one strategic step at a time.